It is Wednesday, May 20, 2026, and this is the High Road Logistics and Leadership. I'm Buck Reynolds, and I'm just here to make sure these silicon-brained drivers don't forget how to change a tire in a blizzard.
This is Elena Rossi.
I'm Dan Miller.
And I'm Jules Sterling. We have a great show for you today.
Glad to have the whole crew in the ops room today. Looking out at the monitors, things are moving. But man, the news cycle is spinning even faster. Yesterday, we were talking about the Build America Act and that Amazon decoupling move, which, Dan, you were all fired up about, calling it a standardized utility. And Elena, I know you're still thinking about those cargo theft trends. That 31% surge in deceptive pickups.
It stays on the mind, Buck. Complacency is the precursor to catastrophe, after all.
Well, today's lineup is just as heavy. We're looking at a global container cartel getting busted by the DOJ, a massive $217 million safety injection from the FMCSA, and some AI tech that's finally moving out of the lab and into the warehouse. Plus, we've got to talk about the price of a new Class 8 truck. Hold on to your wallets, folks.
It's a busy board today, Buck. We've got some fascinating stories to unpack, especially on the macro side. Let's get into the gears. Okay, let's start with the system of action. We've been talking about AI for years, right? Like it's this magic wand. But according to new reports from Inbound Logistics and Supply Chain Dive, we've officially crossed the threshold. Warehouse robotics have now processed over 2 billion cases globally.
2 billion? That's not a pilot program anymore, Dan. That's a structural shift, right?
Exactly. It's what the analysts are calling the system of action. The AI isn't just suggesting you move a pallet, it's autonomously executing the flow. And it's hitting the fleet side, too. Questar Auto Technologies just launched their Total Fleet Health solution worldwide today.
Total Fleet Health. Here's the deal. I've been hearing about predictive maintenance since I was driving a cab with a paper logbook. Usually it just means a sensor gets twitchy because a bird sneezed on it.
Not this time, Buck. This thing has an embedded AI assistant. Fleet managers can literally ask it in plain English. Look, which 10 trucks are at the highest risk of a cooling failure this week? And it doesn't just flag the fault. It gives you a predictive ranking based on the estimated financial impact of delaying the repair.
That's the risk management angle. If the system can tell me that ignoring a radiator hose on truck 402 will cost the company $12,000 in recovered freight and towing versus a $200 fix today, well, I suppose that's a language even the CFO can understand.
My thing is, Dan, what happens when the silicon driver gets it wrong? I've seen guys rely so much on the dash lights, they don't notice the smell of burning oil until the engine's seized.
Well, okay, but it's about the data disconnection, Buck. Questar is trying to bridge that gap. Sort of like what Cacao Mobility and HD Hyundai are doing with their new partnership they signed yesterday. They're building an intelligent logistics execution platform.
Oh, that's the play. They're integrating unmanned forklifts and AGVs into a single physical AI ecosystem. It's about solving the handoff between the unloading dock and the warehouse floor. Right now, those two systems often don't talk to each other. It's like a quarterback and a wide receiver running two different routes.
I just hope someone still knows how to operate a manual pallet jack when the Wi-Fi goes down.
Speaking of leadership and making things move, we have some major shifts in the human side of the house, too. Target just named Jeff England as their new EVP and Chief Global Supply Chain Officer.
A significant move. England comes from a heavy-duty operational background. Target's been struggling with reliability targets for the 2026 fiscal year, trying to keep those shelves stocked without blowing the budget on last-mile delivery.
It's a tough seat to sit in. But hey, it's not just the private sector shaking things up. The FMCSA and Secretary Sean Duffy just put $217 million on the table for trucking safety and CDL development.
Now here's the deal. That actually sounds like someone's paying attention. Where's that money going?
It's split into 4 pillars, Buck. There's funding for high-risk crash corridors, but the part I love, the CMVOST grants. It's a targeted pipeline specifically for military veterans transitioning into trucking.
Well, I can get behind that. Vets know how to follow a protocol, and they don't panic when things get hairy. We need more of that steady hand behind the wheel.
Actually, if I may, the most interesting part of that FMCSA announcement isn't just the grants. It's the MODIS registration system. It went live yesterday, replacing the old URS system. Administrator Derek Bars said the goal is to root out bad actors.
Right. They're using the funding to upgrade state-level CDL systems to detect credential fraud in real time. It's about purging the ghost carriers that have been plaguing the load boards.
About time. Those double brokers have been eating the lunch of honest owner-operators for years.
Speaking of eating lunch, let's talk about the price of the lunchroom. According to ACT Research, the price of a new Class 8 truck is getting astronomical.
How bad we talking, Dan?
Look, between the Section 232 tariffs on truck parts that kicked in last November and the general inflation on components, total new vehicle costs are approaching $238,000 once you bake in the federal excise tax.
$238,000 for one tractor?
Yep. The tariffs alone added between $10,000 and $35,000 to the sticker price. It's a structural break in the industry. Small carriers, the 91% of the market Buck's always talking about, they can't swing that.
Ugh, they absolutely can't. That's why you're seeing the remanufactured parts market explode. It's projected to hit $74 billion this year. People are just rebuilding their old rigs because they can't afford the new tech price tag.
And it's not just the hardware. The UN just cut the global GDP growth forecast to 2.5%. The conflict in the Strait of Hormuz is strangling energy supplies. UK growth is down to 0.7%.
But, Dan, didn't you say the ATA truck tonnage index was actually, steady?
That's the dual reality, Jules. Globally, the macro gloom is real. But domestically, the ATA tonnage index is at its highest point since late 2022. Gasoline demand and retail inventory rebuilding are keeping the wheels turning here in the States.
So we've got a busy house, but the rent is doubling.
It really is a balancing act right now. You have to have the best tools and the best team just to stay level.
Exactly. And hey, before we get into the massive price-fixing scandal in the shipping world, I want to take a second to recognize the people who keep our industry's operating system running.
Oh, right. Strategic logistics requires world-class engineering. This show is powered by the Stack developed by Eric Christensen at Neural Network Media.
If you appreciate the analysis we do here every day, support the architect behind the code. Visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Neural Network Media. You can get a free trial and even grab our daily briefing PDF. It's the same data we're looking at in the ops room right now.
It's good stuff. Even for a guy who still likes a physical map, that PDF is a lifesaver.
All right, let's talk about the DOJ. Yesterday, they unsealed a superseding indictment against the Big Four container manufacturers. We're talking about CIMC, Dongfeng, CXIC, and Singamas. It's a massive antitrust case. The DOJ alleges a price-fixing conspiracy that ran from 2019 through early 2024. But here's the detail that makes my skin crawl. The indictment says these companies installed 87 surveillance cameras in each other's factories.
Wait, why?
To monitor production lines in real time. They wanted to make sure no one was cheating by exceeding the production quotas they'd agreed upon in secret meetings.
They were spying on each other to enforce their own illegal cartel?
Precisely. And the results were devastating for the industry. Container prices doubled during the pandemic. CIMC's profits went from $20 million in 2019 to, get this, $1.75 billion in 2021.
Talk about a full-court press on the global supply chain. While we were all struggling to find capacity and keeping the lights on, they were sitting in Shenzhen watching cameras to keep supply low and prices high.
My thing is, we all knew something was fishy back then. You couldn't get a box for love or money, and when you did, it cost 5 times what it should. I hope the DOJ throws the book at them.
Now it's time for Iron Lady's Verdict, our Wednesday segment where we break down the legal rulings that are fundamentally reshaping the logistics playbook.
Let's hear it, Elena. What's the verdict today?
The verdict is the death of the broker shield. This is about the Supreme Court's unanimous 9-0 decision in Montgomery versus Carib Transport.
I've been following this one. This is the AAAA preemption case, right?
Yes. For decades, freight brokers have relied on a federal preemption defense. The idea was that if a carrier was licensed and in good standing with the FMCSA, the broker's duty was done. If that carrier got into an accident, you couldn't sue the broker for negligent hiring because federal law supposedly blocked those state-level lawsuits.
And SCOTUS just, they ended that?
They didn't just end it, they dismantled it. Justice Amy Coney Barrett wrote that state law negligent hiring claims fall squarely within the safety exception of the Act.
So, explain that like I'm 6, Elena. What does that mean for the guy sitting at a brokerage desk on Monday morning?
It means a valid MC number is no longer a legal shield. In this case, the carrier, Carib Transport, had a documented history of safety deficiencies, hours of service violations, vehicle maintenance issues, but they were still authorized to drive. C.H. Robinson hired them, a driver hit Sean Montgomery, and he lost his leg.
Now the broker's on the hook for the jury's verdict.
Exactly. The court ruled that authorized isn't the same thing as safe. Brokers now have a duty of reasonable care to vet their carriers, beyond just checking a database. If you tender a load without a documented, rigorous safety audit, you are sitting on catastrophic tort exposure.
This is going to change the relationship between brokers and small carriers completely, isn't it?
It's a zero trust model now, Jules. We're going to see a flight to quality. Small to mid-size fleets are already seeing insurance premiums surge because of this. Brokers are going to be terrified to hire anyone who doesn't have a pristine, multi-year digital safety record.
Well, that's my thing. You're going to see a lot of good, honest guys get frozen out because they had one bad inspection 3 years ago.
Perhaps. But the forensic reality is that administrative vetting is dead. You either automate your risk management and prove you're diligent, or you evaporate in the first lawsuit that hits your desk. Iron Lady's verdict? That's a wrap.
That's all for today's High Road. Man, I'll tell you, whether it's DOJ, container cartels, or the Supreme Court taking away the broker shield, the industry's getting a whole lot less casual.
Vigilance is the only hedge against the current volatility.
Relationships still move freight, but the data has to back up the handshake.
And don't forget the humans behind the data.
Keep your eyes on the road and your hands on the wheel, folks. We'll see you tomorrow.